Landshark for Christ. Welcome back to the 21 Days of Prayer and Fasting. This is day 11, and if you've been following along with us, you know that we're following a guide put out by Bellevue Baptist Church, and you can see the link there on the video and in the description as well. And it's 21 days of suggested prayer topics and Bible scriptures that we could pray and fast over. And we're being encouraged to pray and fast leading up to the election. That God will direct us in this country, and His will be done. So for day 11, it's going to be a tough passage, I think, for us to hear as Christians. And the suggested prayer topic is, pray the American church will walk in a holy fear of God, knowing that God's judgment begins with us as Christians, but does not end with us. And it goes to references 1 Peter 4. So if we go to 1 Peter, and the reference was 1 Peter 4:17, I believe. But I'm going to read this whole section out of 1 Peter 4, starting in verse 12. And the subtitle of this is Christian Suffering. It says, "Dear friends, don't be surprised when the fiery ordeal comes among you to test you as if something unusual were happening to you. Instead, rejoice as you share in the suffering of Christ, so that you may also rejoice with great joy when His glory is revealed. If you are ridiculed for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of the glory and of God's rest is on you. Let none of you suffer as a murderer, as a thief, an evildoer, or a meddler. But if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in having that name. For the time has come," and this is the passage for the day, "for the time has come for judgment to begin with God's household. And if it begins with us, what will the outcome be for those who disobey the gospel of God?" So the time has come for judgment. It's quoted in this verse in 1 Peter. Are we there now? Right? Is this prophetic and we're there now? A lot of us will say that we are, but it's important that we understand that judgment begins with what we did as Christians. What did we do with what God gave us in the gift of salvation? What have we done with that? But it doesn't end with us. It ends with those that are lost and not obeying. And what are we doing to reach those people? Charles Spurgeon had this commentary on these verses. He said, "If the wheat must be winnowed, how certainly will the chaff be destroyed. If the gold must pass through the fire," and the gold and the wheat, right, we're the Christians, "how certainly will the dross be consumed. If there is a great fire in a city, and a massive stone structure with iron girders," again, this is the Christians, "can only be saved by the firemen with great difficulty, what will be the fate of the wooden house covered with tar and full of oil?" And that is talking about the non-believers. So if we as Christians are going to be judged, how much more hardly will God judge, and what is the fate of those that don't believe? And how many of us have loved ones that don't believe today that will go through that judgment? So as we think about the country and the upcoming election, let's just pray that the church itself, the Christians, will walk in a holy fear of God, knowing that God's judgment begins with us. Are we ready for that? Are we walking in a way that brings God glory? Are we approaching this election in a way that brings God glory? Or are we conforming to man? And if judgment begins with us, the Christians, but it doesn't end with us. So what are we doing to share the good news? So this is day 11. Look forward to seeing you on day 12. And please leave comments and let me know how your prayer and fasting is going, and things I can do to improve and provide you with a better video. Thank you. This has been a Landshark for Christ production. The PDF of 21 Days of Prayer and Fasting was brought to you by Bellevue Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee.